On the line is Senator Bongbong Marcos. Senator.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, this is Natasha Gutierrez of Rappler. Senator Bongbong, we've been following your press conference earlier today. Could you explain to us what the thought was behind the proclamations you said earlier about possible cheating on the side of Representative Leni Robredo?
Well, because there are so many anomalous developments that are happening in the process of the quick count. Number one, we have noticed that many of the votes that come from the areas where I'm strong are being held back for whatever reason, and there are other votes that we cannot identify where they're coming from. So it's very hard to explain exactly how these numbers have been generated. We are still waiting for a more detailed. We have asked the chairman of the COMELEC. We have asked for more detailed information so we can analyze it more properly. And these are the things that we have to examine. Now, secondly, there was an incident, I think earlier today, where one of the candidates, one transmitter, one candidate's votes was reduced. Now, there is no such thing as a negative transmitter. Every transmitter adds onto the number that is of the votes that has been counted. But even worse is that on the next transmitter, the number that disappeared from one candidate's vote count suddenly appeared in another candidate's vote count, and that is pretty much impossible, and then it's completely unexplainable. There are all of these other days. We have reports of certain provinces where there's overvoting by at least 10-20%. There is ongoing a very clear attempt in ARM to once again manipulate the vote count and to change the result of the election from that which was actually voted by our people. So there are all of these many, and I don't think we have ever seen an instance where one candidate is leading by more or less 1 million votes, but at 8 in the evening, and by 3:30 that following morning, that lead has disappeared. Where it disappeared to, and where the other votes came in to replace it, it's impossible to say. So all of these things that really require an explanation, and that's why we are asking Chairman Andy Bautista to provide us with information so that we can explain all these strange developments.
Okay, Senator, did you have any problems with the count before that point that you saw the votes narrowing or that gap narrowing?
Yes, I did. Simply because you could see that it was a very measured increase in the vote, and it did not seem to follow what our internal surveys were saying. And furthermore, again, we had our surveys that we did before the election. We have the exit polls where I was declared the winner. And suddenly, all of these things happened, and that's completely contrary to the trend that has been established in the last few hours, in the last few days.
So, Senator, just to be clear, even when you were leading the polls, you already had concerns and problems with possible discrepancies.
Yes, I already felt that. Even as we passed about 10% of the precinct count, that I felt that the numbers were starting to slow down already, and I discerned that there was a slowing down in the increase of votes. And if the internal surveys are anything to go by, it's very clear that it was not going to reach the same number as the surveys were saying. And I talk about not one survey, but maybe at least 3, 4, 5 surveys, of which we take the average. So very hard to explain, and we are asking the COMELEC, we are asking the chairman of the COMELEC to please provide us with detailed information so that we can analyze the data and we can see what exactly has happened.
Okay, Senator, some analysts have been saying that actually the reason why you were leading initially was because the initial precinct returns were from the solid north, Metro Manila, where you were obviously strong, and the catch-up was actually quite a regular pace. It just so happened that these came from Visayas and Mindanao, where Representative Leni was strong.
Well, I would have to disagree with that, simply because the numbers that were coming in from the north were very low. The percentages of total votes that were transmitted were still very low, so it would not have that kind of effect. And secondly, I think it is Region 5 Bicol and maybe Region 6 that the Congresswoman claims strength, not in Eastern Visayas and not in Mindanao. So, and again, as I said, in Mindanao there was a very clear attempt to manipulate the vote, and the shall we say, the barricades and the conflict between two groups is still ongoing in Cotabato City even as we speak.
So, Senator, these internal surveys that you speak of, you're telling us that your lead there was a lot more convincing and a lot more significant than the current results.
Yes, it was, and again, that's why I immediately, very early on, was beginning to detect that the numbers were being somehow massaged so that they would follow what I have come to call Plan B.
Senator, would you be willing to show these internal surveys?
Oh no, the internal surveys, we've shown them already. So yeah, we'll be willing to show them again if that's what you want. But I think more importantly is once we get the information, once we get the analysis on the detailed information that we are requesting from the COMELEC, then we will be able to explain whether to the good or to the bad about what has happened in the last 24 hours.
So, Senator, if Representative Lenny continues to lead tomorrow, we will not expect a concession from you until we get these returns from COMELEC or their explanation?
No, not at all. I am not conceding. As I said, the exit polls put me ahead. So that's very clear in my mind. Our internal surveys, the exit polls, all of these things say that I'm ahead. So it's very, very hard to believe what we are seeing right now. So no, I will not concede.
Okay, Senator, also the CNN graphics, I guess, that have been spread in social media, these, we understand that the networks had actually apologized for the discrepancy in Senator Chisa's tally. So they say it was a typo or an error. So they're actually taking it back.
Well, it first happened in one station, and they said it was their mistake. And then the exact same thing happened in another station. So how likely is it that two stations made the exact same mistake to the exact same number, transferring the exact number of votes from one candidate to another candidate, the same candidates, by the way, all a mistake? That's highly unlikely.
So, Senator, what is the possibility of asking for a recount? What would you like to see, I guess, moving ahead, or how would you like COMELEC to respond to your concerns?
Well, I would, first of all, we have asked the COMELEC to stop the quick count because we have reached the highest percentage of precincts reported that we have ever done in any quick count. And the reason that the quick counts were stopped, but at around 80-81% in previous elections, was simply because they did not want any discrepancy between the 100% quick count and the official count to cause problems. Because if it's a 100% quick count and that a result comes out, and there is the official count, and they're not the same, then people will doubt the official count, and that's not what we want. So we are still hoping that they will listen to this request that we have made, that we stop the quick count. It has outlived its usefulness.
Okay, Senator, I have two last questions for you. One is, do you then see this an extended canvassing in the next few days? Or are we waiting for, these are obviously unofficial accounts, accurate in the past, but what do you then see? Do you then see an extended canvassing of these votes?
Well, I don't know if it will be an extended one, but it will certainly be a very detailed one and a very rigorous one. And that is something that we will be watching and looking at and monitoring very, very closely.
Senator, was it you that conducted the exit polls that you're referring to?
I'm sorry?
The exit polls that you were earlier referring to, who commissioned these? Was it you or was it an independent body?
No, it was an independent. It was something that was published. It did not come from us.
Okay, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. Now, Senator, if you do win, how are you preparing for a possible tandem with the presumptive President Duterte? Well,
I think I think that there's very little preparation required, as we know each other very well. And I think that as soon as I'm proclaimed, that we will be able to find a modus vivendi, a way of working together that will be satisfactory to both of us.
And Senator, just lastly, what would you respond to Representative Lenny, who said that when you were leading, there were no accusations from their end about cheating, but the moment that she overtook you, there were suddenly this, what she calls unfair accusations?
Quite the contrary. We started talking about that around 8, 9 in the evening when I was still ahead, and I could see already that there was a pattern developing which could not be explained by any of the information that we had.
Okay, Senator, thank you so much. We'll look at exit polls, internal surveys, as well as if whether CNN copied from GMA, which they would have explained the discrepancies in Senator Chis Escudera's polls. But thank you for speaking to us at Rappler.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you. And that was Senator Bongbong Marcos on the phone.